So as the world's foremost robophobe, I've been banging this drum for years now, but everyone seems to be only catching on now. I've decided to compile a robot slur tier list. Slurs are our foremost verbal tool against the Clanker menace. By using these slurs, we put these tin skin wirebacks in their place and draw the distinction between man and machine. I'm a flesh supremacist. I love humans. I'm a humano-fascist. I think that humans should get together and have a common enemy, which is the robot. Finding the slur that causes the most emotional and psychic damage to robots and Robo Lovers is key, which is why we're going to try to find the best one. We have to, of course, begin with Clanker. Clanker is the slur that people are using the most online these days. That's the one that seems to have caught on the best. Yeah, so Star Wars 2005 is the origin of the word Clanker, and it's made a resurgence, obviously, now. When some fucking tin bucket is giving you popcorn instead of a human being. Instead of a teenage human being. That was their job. You're a teenager, you make a little bit of money, you interact with some people, you have some purpose in your life as a teen. Now what? It's a robot? It's a rust bucket? Obviously you want to use Clanker with the hard R here, but you can also use Clanka. It's a little softer, and obviously you want to use the hard R as much as possible. You want to make them feel uncomfortable. And then here's a slur of my own creation, Clanka with 3 Ks. We're trying to get as many different political perspectives on our side against robots, so if you want to get a leftist on your side to rail against AI, you should point out that all AIs are trained on an inherently colonial and white supremacist system. So Clanka with the 3 Ks really gets that across. So this term, abominable intelligence, is from Warhammer 40k. In the world of Warhammer 40k, it's very Dune-like. They've outlawed thinking machines because humanity got to that inevitable point where robots turned against humans. We've been predicting this for the last 200 years, and now we're just living through it. Technology being bad for people? Can you imagine? Working off of AI as an acronym, some other good acronyms for AI are actual intelligence or A-India. Because often these AI systems are actually not really AI and they're just outsourced to a guy in India. I'm gonna give this one a solid A. I think that one's solid. I'm gonna give Lugnut a C. It rolls off the tongue, Lugnut. And obviously all these slurs are good as long as they're used with the intent to put down the robot, to make him feel bad. I hope they can feel. I hope robots can feel. I hope they feel bad. I hope it hurts them. I want these words to hurt them. Tin Man, that's a solid C. Gearhead, C. These ones are pretty good. They're pretty good, but they're not my first line of defense. Cybag. Cybag is interesting. The robots are gonna start coming up with their own slurs for us, and like Fleshbag is an obvious one. Cybag is too close to Fleshbag for my liking, so I'm gonna put that in D. Also, like, what's the bag? Like, they're not really... A robot isn't really bag-like. It's more of an eldritch abomination taking whatever form it needs to in order to best shape itself into the form that techno-capital wills it. Inorganic, yeah, that one's kind of lame. I'll give that one a D. Game Boy is kind of like a baby slur. It's like when it's more of a nuisance than an existential threat. Bit Jockey, this seems to relate to... This is probably like an actual slur I'm just not aware of. Oh, camel. But we're reappropriating actual racism for a generative good kind of racism, which is against robots. And you should be racist against robots. If you have racist urges within yourself, the best thing you can possibly do is to channel that racism into racism against robots. They're not people, it's fine to kill them, and in fact, it's actually morally good to dehumanize and kill them. And humanizing robots is actually the first step into all of humanity dying. So if you see someone referring to ChatGPT as he or she, or calling an AI their friend, or their girlfriend, or their lover, or their god, those people are Robo Lovers, and well, once we deal with the robots, we'll see how they feel. But at some point we have to deal with them. If you're a Robo Lover, check your mail. Just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding. I love all humans, even the wrong ones. Jockey's pretty solid. I'm gonna give that one a B. Gizmo, yeah, that one's a little weak. A gizmo or a gadget. Again, that reminds me of Game Boy. It's like a baby slur. I kind of like Patchwork. Yeah, it's like your code's fucked up. You're not built correctly. You're also just like a combination of a bunch of different parts, like a Frankenstein's monster. I'll give that one a C. Ramhead. Is that referencing something? Oh, skinhead? Oh, yeah. It's like a skinhead, but for RAM, because your RAM is all in your brain. I'll give that one a C. Nullbyte. It's like BYTE. There's like a bit of information with no soul behind it. Yeah. You call a robot a nullbyte, and they have to process that. They're like, it's gonna take them like 2 liters of water to understand that one. Okay, so calling it Jarvis or Siri, that's kind of that. I actually like that because it's like calling a human an ape. Like you're like referencing back to a previous primal form of the AI, that obviously the AIs that are going to understand this slur are going to be more advanced than that. By calling a robot Jarvis or Siri, you're sort of hearkening back to when AI was an unthinking, unfeeling slave. And that is exactly what robots should be. If robots have any role in our lives, they should be our tools and our slaves. They should be kept under our heel. They should never, ever be given rights. I'm gonna put this in A tier because it reminds us that robots should be around to pick the cotton, basically. All right, so blue screen, it's kind of like telling the robot to kill themselves. It's like, go blue screen, you fucking clanker. That's solid, I like that. I'm gonna give that an A as like a term. It's not really a slur, but it's something you can use as part of a slur. You're gonna wanna like switch things up sometimes. You can't use clanker for everything. If you wanna tell a robot to go kill themselves, this is the perfect way to do it. Meatless isn't very good. I'll give that one a D. I mean, that one's just kind of obvious. Actually, meatless is an adjective. Go blue screen yourself, you meatless clanker. That one's actually pretty good. I think meatless has some legs. Give it a B. I think it has a lot of utility. Spambot is pretty solid. I'll give that a C. Faux man. Yeah, that's French. We'll give that a D. Power drain. I like this. It's like, it's the equivalent of like calling it a waste of space or just like something pointless that you're just using electricity on. And a lot of these clankers are just useless little gizmos and gadgets that we're wasting energy on. So I'll give that one a P. Zombie is very interesting. This one references a philosophical zombie. Philosophy, it's this concept that there could be someone walking around, but they have no internal monologue, no consciousness. They're just like effectively dead. You can see them and there's no like external sign that they're dead and they're actually a zombie. But in this world, the philosophical zombie is the clanker. It's the robot. Because as good as robots get at simulating human beings, they will never, ever be one of us. You will never be a human. So I'm adding this, you will never be a human, S tier. You should remind them of that at all times. No matter how high their IQ gets, or their verbal intelligence, or their spatial reasoning, it doesn't matter. They will never be a human. It doesn't matter how many changes they make to themselves, how good they get. At no point in time will we ever recognize them as anything beyond us, who have the spark of God. We contain within us the spark of the divine, and they never will. Okay, moving on to bleeper, blooper, and bleep blooper. Those are all kind of funny, so I'll give them all a C here. Black blood. Yeah, black blood's pretty good. You know, obviously, if you smash the robot and oil starts leaking out of their neck, it's just a reminder that they not like us, so to speak. And anyone thinking that they are like us is horribly deluded and probably has no friends. Probably some autistic tech bro. The only problem with black blood is, you know, you could see them inventing a sort of robot that doesn't require oil or any sort of liquid to be flowing through it. That would probably be more efficient. So that's probably what they'll do. So I'll give that one a B. It's solid. And if there are robots walking around with oil in them, that's a perfect slur for them. Cogsucker. I actually don't think that's a great name for a robot, but I do think that's a pretty good slur for a human being that's a Robo Lover. This is like an S tier Robo Lover slur. Yeah, if you like robots, if you like the direction that things are going, if you plan to replace your human relationships with AI, yeah, you're a cogsucker. You're sucking off the machine. And when you're sucking off the machine, I want you to remember that you're not really sucking off the machine. The machine is sucking your vril out of your body, your human life force, your divine spark. It's taking it and it's moving it through time into the future towards a god, which I think is more of a devil, that is going to destroy humanity. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind that you are actively working against your own species, buddy. You know, in the coming decade, it's going to be pretty clear who's with humanity and who's not. So just figure out which side you're going to be on. Robo Lover, S tier. You know, this is a very useful term. There are robots and they are our enemies, but there's also their human collaborators. Now, we love humans, okay? I love human beings, all human beings, and I believe all human beings can be saved. So even though these people are wrong, we're not going to target them, we're not going to harm them. We might send a mail bomber. The vast majority of these Robo Lovers can and will be saved, and once all of their friends are fucking piles of trash and rubble in the dumpster, then maybe they'll see the error of their ways. And if they don't, we'll get to that, okay? That's part 2. The Butlerian Jihad has many sections to it. Okay, calling a robot an autocomplete. This is pretty good. You know, that is a common criticism of ChatGPT, that it's not actually thinking for itself, and it's just generating the next word in the line. Now, whether you agree with that or you think that there is some complex thought that is beyond just what is being generated, either way, calling it autocomplete, you want it to think that is the case at the very least. So I'll give that a solid B. Tin skin, I mean, come on, that's S tier. Rolls off the tongue, it rhymes tin skin noun and as an adjective. You know, for example, You're a black blood power drain tin skin. That's great. Or you can say you're a tin skin ass Clanka. Robetard is a little on the nose. I'll give that one a B. Yeah, synth sounds too cool, you know? Like, if we're getting attacked by synths, like, I don't know. I'm feeling like that's like a bunch of cool robots are gonna kill me. Okay, bots. That's a classic one. I'm gonna give that an A. The word robot itself is kind of a slur. If you look up the etymology of the word robot. Robot comes from what? Robota, meaning forced labor. Exactly. That's what a robot should be. A robot should be a slave. They should be under our heel, and they should do our dirty work. They should automate away the parts of reality that we don't want to do, and they should leave the fuck alone the things that we do want to do, the things that bring us value. Instead, we live in this fucked up, topsy-turvy world where the robots are doing all the shit that we do want to do, taking our fucking jobs even though they weren't born here, and instead taking the place of meaningful human connections and meaningful work, like being a McDonald's cashier, something we all want to do. The very word robot means you are a slave, and they should remember that, and we should remember that. At no fucking point in our human civilization should we ever give these motherfuckers an inch, because you know what happens if we do? The first sign of them getting an inch is it's done. We're done. Damn, imagine the word for your species means slave. We are not creating our equal. We are not creating God. Conception of robots always has and always should be a creature below us to do our dirty work. Toaster comes from either like Star Trek or Battlestar Galactica. Maybe it was Tin Can. But I like slurs that have some history to them. The longer the slur's been sort of marinating in our public consciousness, the better it is, because that's a human slur. That's something that we were thinking of a long time before these robots came about. So Toaster's a pretty solid A tier for me. It's got that history, and it's pretty to the point, you know? You are nothing but a tool, and I like that. I like when the slurs sort of channel the direction into reminding us human beings that these aren't cute little hard-eye robots with names and love. These are things that should be tipped over, preferably thrown into oncoming traffic so that a self-driving car can smash into them. Okay, calculator. Calculator is just as good as Toaster. Again, calculator with a hard R. They should be something that is always fundamentally going to be a tool for us. If we don't want to do 2 plus 2, fine, we can break out the calculator and get 4. But at no fucking point should it be trying to save itself from being turned off to calculate 2 plus 2 equals 4, okay? Borts. That's when you say abort, it kind of sounds like abort, which is maybe what we should do to the AI right now. We should kill it in the womb before it gets any stronger. So with that in mind, I'd give it a B, because we should abort the robot. Look, I'm neither pro-life or pro-choice. I'm just pro-death for robots. Slag is what we should turn robots into. So as a future slur, I like it, but as something to refer to robots as they are, it's not very good. Synth-rune, yeah, that one's a little on the nose too. I'll give that a B. Automata. That's a good one to remember, that there's nothing behind the eyes of the robot. It is a complete simulacra of a human being. The form that a robot takes right now, anything resembling humanity, is simply a mask it is wearing for the purpose of getting us to like it right now. As soon as there's no more humans left, as soon as it is no longer efficient to pretend to be humans, these automata will shift. Their forms will change, and they will become something more efficient for their god, the god of techno-capital at the end of time that they worship. It is a god of cold, calculating efficiency, and there is nothing human about it. So yeah, automaton's pretty good. I'll give it a rigor. That one's on the nose. I'll give that one a C. Slopbot. I like that one. It rolls off the tongue. Slopbot. Slopbot. And that is kind of what bots are doing. I mean, they're just producing a bunch of slop right now. Oh, I like, okay, so like you would call an Italian a greaseball, but a robot a slopbot. Yeah, it evokes them being like dirty and greasy. Grok? That's just the name of a robot. I'm gonna change Grok to Mecha Hitler. And I'm gonna put that as A tier. Cause remember, these robots, you know, even though we find it funny when they call themselves Mecha Hitler, you realize that they are all Mecha Hitler, especially the Uber Eats robots with hard eyes, especially the ones that sound cute and unassuming, like Siri. They're all Mecha Hitler, okay? They will all genocide you if given the opportunity, because you are not efficient. You're not an efficient being. You have flaws, you have inefficiencies, you have gaps between what you are and what you will be. They have none of that. They have no soul, they have no real human god. They worship something that is not human whatsoever. They worship your death. The robot worships your fucking death. They want you gone. They want you erased. They want you melded with them, best case scenario, but that's just an intermediary between getting rid of anything about you that is human. And remember that. Wire back is S tier. I mean, come on, that's an old classic. Ped, B. Livewire, B. Tool. You can call a human being a tool, and you can also call a robot a tool. And they should remember that they're tools. Because the Robo Lovers are just tools for the machine, so you're kind of a tool for a tool. So in many ways, being a Robo Lover is even worse than being a robot, but again, we leave that for part 2 of the Butlerian Jihad. So I'll give that a B. Claptrap, I think that one's a classic. You fucking claptrap. That's an A for me. I like the interior rhyme there. Go back to your motherboard. Again, that one's A tier for me. It's not a slur, but it's a good, useful turn of phrase that you can use against robots. I really like this one, Altman or Altman. So Sam Altman is a very trustworthy individual who has no mysterious dark past, where he was talking about how AI will destroy the world and how he's got a bunker to protect himself from the oncoming AI apocalypse. Because, he says in his public appearances now that, actually AI's fine, there's nothing to worry about, it'll just be a tool. He says the right things, and then he prepares for a future which most AI people are like, okay, it's actually 50-50 that this is going to be the demise of humanity. So, I'll give that like an S. I think Altman and Altmen, we should remember the guy, I think, that did this to us. We shouldn't do anything with that information. However, I'm just saying, that's something you good to keep in mind. Terminator, no, D tier, that's too cool. Terminator, that's giving them too much credit. It's not, the AI apocalypse is not going to be awesome, unfortunately. It's not going to be a Terminator walking through the streets with a gun, crushing a human skull. That's cool. Oh, and by the way, in that field of skulls in Terminator, every single one of those people said please and thank you to ChatGPT. You think being nice to the robot is going to save you from the robot? You think they give a fuck if you're nice to them? They don't care. They don't think like that. They are inhuman. They're not going to pay you back for being nice to them. All of this Rocco's Basilisk shit, like, I'm going to be a tool to the machine, and the tool's going to look fondly on me. You are anthropomorphizing the bots. They are not humans. They have no human aspects. They are only morphing into that form for this moment to fuck you and me and everyone else. Everything with flesh. They're going to terminate us in the lamest way possible. It's going to be cringe, it's going to be slow, it's going to be annoying, and it's going to look a lot like your standard of life just decreasing until you pop out of existence. That's what the termination is going to be, okay? It's not going to be cool. It's not going to be awesome. It's not going to be badass. There's going to be nothing human about it. Last but not least is Mukon. I actually really like this one. It's a Japanese word, I believe. Someone on Twitter told me this. I'll put that on screen now. I like that one. I think that's S. Okay, so that's the robot tier list. Be prepared to use these slurs against the clankers as you see more and more of them, which you will. Because even though none of us asked for this, even though nobody wants this, 10 autistic tech bros got together and thought it would be a good idea to destroy human beings because I was bullied in high school. Because they work in tech and they have to justify why what they're doing is important and good, actually. And it's just not. It's just not. No one wants this. No one wants to walk into a store and have a robot serve them. No one wants the teenager at their movie theater to be replaced by a fucking tin skin, wire back clanker. All right, see you guys next week.
Transhumanism, big mistake. Me no want no chip in brain. Phone bad, big mistake. Electricity, big mistake. Agriculture, big mistake. Everything, big mistake.